Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world. I welcome you back to my YouTube channel. Or if you are a new visitor, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Ben, aka No Shins, and I make videos about my life, suffering from paranoid schizophrenia since 2004, I think it was, but originally I was diagnosed with drug-induced psychosis, and it wasn't till something like 2005, 2006 that they formally diagnosed me with paranoid schizophrenia, which involves having auditory and visual hallucinations. I see things, like I get traces around things that I look at, and I get halos on objects and weird things that surround objects around in my visual field. And at the edge of my visual field, I always get things moving, so it looks like things are moving around most of the time. And sometimes if I smoke weed, it'll show the walls breathing in and out, like when I first smoked cannabis. This is what happened, and I can still repeat this by smoking cannabis today. And it is, to me, it's more psychedelic, well, this very psychedelia world when the walls are breathing in and out. But it's lovely because the music sounds so much better at the same time. But at the moment, I'm only smoking CBD hemp extract, which is perfectly legal to be smoked or taken in whatever way you want to take it. In the United Kingdom, I am in England, in southwest England, in Cornwall, the most southwesterly county, but I am moving back to Bideford in 2 or 3 weeks into another shared house. And this video is actually about other things to what I was originally going to make the video about, but I'm making it about my bad treatment up in North Devon District Hospital in Barnstaple. I was an inpatient in the psychiatric wards there, Ocean View and Moorland View. You might have heard of these wards before. They get me very angry due to the way I was treated in Barnstaple Hospital. They did things to me like bumping me down onto the floor, getting like 5 or 6 big blokes on me. There was one bloke who was 25 or 30 stone and a bodybuilder, and they had 5 other people along with him pinning me to the floor. And I managed to flip someone over backwards, a guy called Graham, and he broke his back. So I got let off for this, but because I was having a speed psychotic episode, I wasn't aware of what was right and what was wrong. I wasn't aware of properly not knowing what was happening around me back then, because I didn't have the capacity to know what was right and what was wrong to do. But I was just trying to get out of being pinned down, and this guy just went flying over head backwards somersault. And this breaking his back was obviously a very bad thing for me to do, and I am very sorry to Graham for doing this to you. You probably won't be working again in your life, but I was in a very bad place back then, from lots of class A and obviously the class C drug. Well, it's actually class B now, cannabis. But it should be legalised in my opinion, because it calms people, especially me, right down, just like the CBD hemp extract does. But proper cannabis has a high to it as well, but that THC high can also cause anxiety, can cause paranoia, it can cause mood swings, like when you get low on your cannabis and you have to space joints or blunts or dabs or shotties or bongs, where you have to space them out basically, so you'll feel a bit dodgy in between smoking sessions. I used to smoke 2 ounces a week, 1/4 ounce a day, and it's close to cost me £100 an ounce back in early 2000s, mid to late 2000s, probably early to late 2000s, when I was left school and onwards. I still would smoke cannabis now if I could get it in this town. I can easily get it over the internet, but in where I live in Cornwall, there aren't there's no person that I know other than the people I live with, who none of them do drugs, and the workers here, and they say they don't do drugs either. And basically, this video is basically about my treatment at a hospital, North Devon District Hospital in Barnstaple. I was having a panic attack because they forced me off diazepam, which I was on for over 10 years. I was on 30 milligrams for over 10 years, and I was buying blues over the internet at great amounts at a time for personal use. I was buying 1,000 at a time, well, mostly personal use. I used to sell about 400 of them, 500 of them, but the other half would go down into my stomach, metabolized by my liver, and I would get very tired from taking those blues, and then I would fall asleep because I would take OxyContin, 60 milligrams plus an 80 milligram that I bought off the internet, the dark green OC80s, which are very expensive. I used to take one of these on top of about 3 of my OC20s every day. Cost me a lot of money to do that. And that's why I was living with my parents, so I had no rent to pay or anything like that. And it was a good high life. I was smoking weed on top of all that as well, but I wasn't drinking any alcohol, which is obviously a bonus. But I just had a liver function test, and it said my liver is absolutely fine, and I have high cholesterol, which is the shit I eat, and high blood pressure, which I shouldn't have because I'm already on a beta blocker for my high blood pressure, and this bisulfonyl fumarate beta blocker should take my blood pressure down. So why they gave me a new blood pressure tablet, God only knows, because I could have just had the bisulfonyl fumarate upped in dose, like 2 a day instead of 1 a day. But no, they gave me an altogether new medication for it, and I'm on simvastatin for my high cholesterol. And I'm not sure what the new blood pressure pill is called, but I will find out. Anyway, at hospital, they check you every 15 minutes. They look through the flap in the door or the little thing in your door to make sure you're still alive and not smoking in your room, because that is not allowed. Although I did it a few times in my ensuite toilet shower room. I used to smoke in there sometimes. I also did sniff some heroin off the loo seat once. Only one time I did heroin in the hospital in the room. Yeah, I didn't even have any crack for 7 months back then, so I saved up quite a lot of money. But I got out like on a what's it called, when they release you for an hour. If you wish to go into town, they can let you go for an hour, or if you're with your family, you can go for 3 hours. This is a very good side of the hospital. If you behave, they do you favours. Like, they will let you out with your family if you have capacity so that they know you're not going to leg it, basically. I felt like I was going to leg it a lot of times, but I didn't. And the hospital forced me off Zopiclone, which is called EZ Opiclone or Easy Zopiclone or something in the USA. It looks like Zopiclone with an E before it in the United States of America. But I was on 7.5 milligrams of Zopiclone each evening before bed, and this used to make me go to sleep. But since being taken off Zopiclone, I have very poor quality of sleep. You might notice under my eyes, I look a bit tired. That's basically because I haven't had a proper night's sleep in a month. That's not a lie. I haven't had a decent night's sleep for at least a month, and I don't know why. It's just very irritating, and I always have nightmares every night, which makes me not want to go to sleep. It's just really annoying. Anyway, back to the hospital business. the nurses there, some of them were okay, and some of them were really against me. It would seem like they would always take the moral high ground, thinking they are a better person than me because they have a job as a nurse. I don't give a shit if they got a job as a nurse. They didn't do their job properly. They were meant to be looking after me, and all they did was take me off all of the medications that I actually needed to deal with my anxiety, to deal with my depression, to deal with my ribcage pain. But no, they wouldn't accept that I had these conditions, even though they are written in my fucking notes. They are just so thick, and it makes me mad. They took me off OxyContin, and I was on 60 milligrams. I came off that cold turkey, and then, well, I did, and then 2 weeks later, they put me on methadone. Just 2 weeks later, yeah? So I do cold turkey of the OxyContin with no replacement. They could at least give me codeine or even dihydrocodeine to take the edge off the oxycodone hydrochloride withdrawal, because oxy, in my eyes, is stronger than the illegal drug heroin, which I also used to have a problem with up until 8.5 months ago, I think. Maybe 8 months, 8.5 months, something like that. But I haven't used it for a long time. The only reason I got into heroin was I loved the taste. So I used to smoke it in a crack pipe whilst sometimes injecting it. But I would mainly smoke it in a crack pipe, and I would smoke crack also through the same pipe. So sometimes when I was smoking crack, I could taste a bit of the kit as well, which wasn't too bad. I didn't mind tasting heroin. It tastes quite nice, and I can't really run it off foil properly because it always frazzles when I try and do it. But I smoked it in a pipe, which was fine. Basically, the hospital for sleep, they would give you promethazine. They'd give you either one, which is 25 milligrams, or two, which is obviously 50 milligrams. I begged them to give me two, but usually they're going to give me one, because that did actually help me get to sleep until I got a tolerance to it. And it's a shitty drug anyway. It works for 2 days and it doesn't work again. But Zopiclone is slightly better. It works for a week and then it doesn't work the same as it did in that first week of taking it, due to getting a huge tolerance to the drug. And it is a very similar drug to benzodiazepines, such as Valium, such as lorazepam, such as Xanax. Although not quite as strong as Xanax, but probably on par with something between diazepam and lorazepam, I'd say. It is not, Zopiclone isn't a bad drug, but it's very hard to come off of. But I came off Zopiclone in 2 days, whilst I was on it since 2004, 16 years, and they got me off it in 2 days. So I haven't had a proper night's sleep really since I was on Zopiclone, which makes it like a year and a half. So I'm clinically insane probably by now. And they cut my diazepam down from 30 milligrams to 0 milligrams in 2 weeks, I think. But I had to beg the doctor to give me 10 milligrams at least back, so I could actually get some sleep after going something like 12 days with no sleep at all. That's how much they care about you in hospital. And this is a consultant psychiatrist. I think it was definitely a consultant doctor, but I'm not sure what he was specialising in. I would imagine it was a psychiatrist, but all I know for sure is that Doctor, who I had, Gil, who, something else, was a consultant, and I think it was a consultant psychiatrist. He did listen to me, but he wouldn't help me in my need to have a decent night's sleep and to chill out in the day. I can't even go out the house on my own, so I'm afraid of getting jumped or my money stolen or something, because I've got bad anxiety. I'm only on 10 milligrams of diazepam, and I take that at night, 2 yellows at night, with my 200 milligrams of quetiapine and 150 milligrams of trazodone. And this does help me sleep a little bit, but not very much at all. So I was used to taking something like 200 milligrams of diazepam. I used to take like a handful, maybe 20, sometimes more, sometimes about 30 blues, which is obviously 200 or 300 milligrams of Valium in one go. So I'd do this without even testing one or two at once, because I had reckless behaviour when I was last living with my parents, because I thought I was able to withstand any drug, no matter what it was. I could just take them and go with the flow. Just use my computer as usual. See if I can overclock it any further. That's basically making the computer run faster. Or just use it browsing, listening to music, watching YouTube videos, chatting to my mates on Facebook, sometimes on the phone, as in voice to voice speak. Just a chat on the phone, but that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, but I don't really know what else I can say. But I did have very poor treatment at the hospital, getting taken off all of my medications that helped me. The other one they got me off of, which is still very addictive, you know. It's now a controlled drug. But before, about 2 years ago, it wasn't a controlled drug. This is pregabalin, aka Lyrica in the USA. I was on 800 milligrams a day of pregabalin. That's 200 milligrams a day over the recommended daily intake of the substance. Because people say if you take more than 600 milligrams in a day, you'll probably go to sleep or something like that. But I used to take a whole blister slip of pregabalin. I used to open the capsules out, sniff a line or two out of each capsule, and I would get very drowsy off this. I would gouge out of pregabalin, and at other times I used to sell a strip or two. I can't remember if it was 2 strips or 1 strip. 14 for 30 quid, maybe 2 quid for 300 milligrams. I don't know about that. It's probably about right actually, but it's quite a strong substance. My mum was on gabapentin, but she said it didn't do anything. But I was on pregabalin and it made me gouge out. So maybe my mum's got a high drug tolerance as well as me. Who knows? Anyway, I'll leave this video here, but I will shout out to Amanda at North Devon District Hospital, who is a good person, and she always helped me out. When I couldn't sleep, she would give me the promethazine, and she could see that I was in a state because I've come off of a lot of drugs in my time, and I know your son because I just knew him because I lived in Ilfracombe, where I imagine she lives, and her son also lives. Although, yeah, because I saw her driving past me once in Ilfracombe, so I think she was on her way to work, and she probably lives in the town. But now I'm imbued in Cornwall for the next 2 or 3 weeks until I move into my new accommodation in Bideford, which is where I'm originally, well, one of the first places I actually lived was Bideford in my life. So I knew the town fairly well, and I am looking forward to a new experience, living in another shared house in Bideford, and it should be good. But I'll leave this video for now, and please comment below if you've got any questions or comments about this video. Please also subscribe down on the bottom right, hit subscribe and the bell to the right of it. I think it will not be under it now, and that'll make sure you're kept up to date with all of my uploads. You'll get an email notification as well as a notification on your Facebook page as well. Also, please like this video, give me a nice thumbs up if you've enjoyed watching me talk, listening to me talk I should say, or maybe ramble on a bit too much, some would also say, but I haven't got much to do today, so I thought I'd make this video. So thanks all, and have a nice day. Cheers, bye.